Whoa. Well, how we doing, everybody? Just going over. I'm trying to set up a. Trying to set up. Oh, here we go. Trying to just set up the quick description. I forgot to do it. Okay, so I want to start off by going over the weekly listing or the weekly market update, and not a whole lot has changed. There's some more data that came out. I'll show you guys some of that. But right now, you see, last week it's been like this for a year and a half. New listings have always been between 7,000 and 8,000 over the past year and a half, and pending transactions have been between 6 and 7,000. It's just been this way basically since they a lot mostly since they crossed 6% with interest rates. When they crossed 6% with interest rates, we saw new listings actually go above the threshold of pending transactions, which pending transactions is buyers, and then new listings are sellers. So the supply and demand switched at 6% interest rates. And it's been like the interest rates went to 6% at the end of 2022. So it's been like this since the end of 2022. And every week for the past year and a half, we have seen between 7,000 and 8,000 new listings and between 6,000 and 7,000 pending transactions, and that's why there's a flood of inventory, and that's why you're hearing these news topics on Google. Okay, now let's check out the mortgage application. So you see, again, last week we didn't have really anything really in regards to mortgage applications, so it's still very low. It's still very low, and this was the highest it's been, and this was September of last year. Okay, so we're coming up on a year. We haven't even hit this threshold. But again, when you look at this on a long term scale here, this is June of 2022 when interest rates went over 6%. About probably around this area. But you see, this represents buyers in the market, and this is just the way it's been. It's been like this for a long time. And of course, prior to that, when there was lower interest rates, you see all the buyer activity. Okay, so really, in order to get a balanced market where we have equals in regards to sellers and buyers, we need these mortgage applications to get over 500, and we expect that to happen when interest rates drop below 5%. Okay, when that happens, we don't know. I know that the administration is pressuring the federal government, and the federal government's not lowering rates, and I know the administration wants them to. So I don't know how that all plays out, and it's just a matter of time as to when it plays out. But the timing is the issue. We don't know when it's going to happen. So until it does, it's all speculation. But for now, we're just sitting in this right here. So if you're listing your house, you have to attract these buyers. These are the target buyers you want to go after. You got to find a way to get these people in your home so that you can get your home sold. It has to happen. It's very important that this happens within 30 days, and I'll show you why. So last week the markets closed or the interest rate was at 6.86% on Friday. Again, it's not great. It's not as high as it has been, but still it's too high. And it's not too high like from a historical standpoint, but when you take the average purchase price of a home in Tampa Bay and you add that onto and you say, hey, a home in Tampa Bay is worth $400,000, right? The average home, and you add on that interest rate, and then you look at what people make here locally. Can they afford that? And the answer to that is no. They cannot afford the average home value. When you add interest rates on top of that, the local buyer cannot afford to buy what they want, so they just rent. And that's what's going on, all right? So it's not that you can't sell your house, because there's still a lot of buyers. I mean, you think about it, there's been 6,000 buyers that executed contracts in the past 7 days. Okay, and this happens every single week. We see this 6,000 to 7,000 buyers buying houses. So there is a lot of buyers out there. You just have to be very precise and very accurate in regards to what you do when you list your house for sale. Otherwise, your house is going to go stagnant, and then it's going to sit, and then no one's going to buy it. And that's just the nature of the market right now. Okay, so let's look at I want to show you this statistic here. So this is basically uh, this is a analysis that we use that shows us where are buyers scheduling showings? Okay, and this is, I put these major cities in our area here, and there's, of course, there's more cities around Tampa Bay, but this covers almost, some of the major cities in the area, and it's just the past month, So number one, it shows you how many buyers are out there looking and scheduling homes, and you see that these are in the thousands. These are in the thousands of showings here. So this represents price bracketing. Okay, this is price brackets for 300,000 to 350, 350 to 400, 400 to 450, and so forth, in $50,000 price increments. All right, and you see this is really where, if you look at this here, 350 to $400,000, there's been, you know, over 4,500 showings in the past month in this price bracket, which tells me that when a buyer sits down with a lender with the current interest rates, this is about where the affordability is for a buyer between 350 and 400. Okay, they can pretty much afford a house in there because they're scheduling the most showings there. That's the biggest pool of buyers. And then below it at 300, 350, there's probably less buyers here because the quality of the homes will go down a little bit when you get into a lower price bracket. They'll just drop down a little bit. So you get less buyers there. But this seems to be the biggest pool of buyers between 350 and 400. And then between 400 and 450, there's been about 3,000 showings. Same with 450 to 499. So there's very strong numbers of buyers between 350 and up to about $500,000. And that seems to be where most of the buyers can afford homes, okay? Around these areas, and that's where most of the buyers are looking. So this, if you're listing your home for sale, this is very good information, because if your house is going to be priced at $700,000, you got to see how many buyers are in this area versus 650. I mean, look at that. If you were going to say I want to price my house at 700, and we looked at this and said, yeah, but look at this, 650 is representing 1,000, 700 is 52. I mean, there's a massive difference in some of these numbers. So you got to know where, and you can break this down. This is an overall area, but if you broke this down to your city and into your local area specifically, or your zip code, you can see where are buyers looking and in what price ranges. It gives you an extra bit of information to know where to list your house at. But the overall synopsis of this report is showing where buyers are getting pre-approved and scheduling showings, and how many of them are out there. So you can see there's just a lot of buyers out there, even in this market. And people get discouraged because they don't think that people are buying. Well, they are buying. There's a lot of buyers out there to access. You just got to get it done and get it done correctly. All right. And then when we look at some of this data came out for home value growth year over year. The new May data came out. So these are counties, okay? And you can see that you can see how much the prices are down right now, okay, in these counties. And in Pinellas County, it's down 6.7% from May of 2024 to May of 2025. Prices are down 6.7%. Manatee County 6.6%. Hillsborough County is down 3.6%. Pasco's down almost 5%, and Hernando's down 3%. Okay, so this until they get interest rates down, the only relief that is going to be able to give buyers the ability to afford a home, the only relief valve right now is through prices. So this is what we're going to continue to see this, and they don't have the month over month data yet. Whenever this comes out in the next week or two, I'll shoot a video on it. We'll look at the zip codes, and there is, real estate's not going to be isolated to a county. You're going to want to really look at it in zip codes and stuff like that because it's localized. But you can see the trajectory, okay? Counties are starting to go down. If things don't get better with interest rates, then this will definitely continue. Now, the truth of the matter is, whenever we go out and we price a property correctly, and it's a nice home that has been well taken care of, and it's easy to show, and when buyers come in the house, they're comfortable and it's clean and all these things are ready to go when you list a house, then they will sell within 30 days. It always happens. And so when you, as a buyer, when you're experiencing the showings and you start scheduling showings, you notice that you'll go to 10 houses and 9 of them will be junk, but one of them will be nice, and that one is the one you want. All right. So this representation of this price declines isn't necessarily a home that's presented correctly, priced correctly, and well maintained home. This is a representation of a lot of houses that are overpriced and they were not good to begin with, and they're just junk homes. Okay, that buyers are not going to buy in this market. They were never going to buy them, and it doesn't really give you the full representation of nice homes that are presented good, that are ready to go, and that are done correctly. Those are the homes that sell right now. Those are the homes that get a lot of attention. And if you're selling your home, you want to be that home. You want to be that one home. You don't want to fall into this pool of people that are just doing things half-ass and overpricing properties and really having a hard time. You don't want to fall into that pool. So I don't want to give this video a totally negative outlook, because there's always ways to sell properties. You just have to really do it right in this market, and try to do it mistake free, and do it as accurate as possible. You don't want to try to test high prices. You really want to get it under contract within 30 days, so that you know that you took advantage of the market, and you're not trying to catch a downtrending market. It's important to do that. All right, well, I'll wrap it up there, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.